Good morning. It's Thursday. That means you made it from after Wednesday. Of course, that's okay if you are struggling this week. I know many have shared with me that they started off on track and maybe got off track, but I pray that you get back in the Word each day and get all caught up. Get your Bible ready so we can continue to grow together. The Lord has something for us today. We had a great time last night at church and had a lot of pumpkin spice and apple cider. There was homemade apple cider and it was delicious. And there was a pumpkin roll, pumpkin pie, pumpkin cheesecake cupcakes, pumpkin cookies. I mean, it was all kinds of goodies if you like that kind of thing. And so we had a great time at fellowship. And then I think there were 3 different chilies or 4 different chilies, and then chicken pot pie and all kinds of different other things if you didn't eat chili, of course. Anyways, it was a good time at fellowship and we continued in the Word, of course. And I pray that at your church you had a great day, night, I should say, in the Word. And so God has something for us, though, as we continue in Genesis. We see the increase of the nations. We talked about the origin of the nations yesterday, and we see the increase of them just continuing to grow and grow from Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, as we shared that. And we're going to continue in Genesis chapter 11 today. I know that might throw you off because we were doing everything was on the same number, but when we started adding chapters, it changed a little bit there. So today we're in Genesis chapter 11, and we're going to ask the Lord to open thou mine eyes that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. Psalm 119:18. And so we'll begin Genesis chapter 10. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And then I just remembered, I just read that yesterday, and I'm not starting in Genesis chapter 10, I'm starting in Genesis chapter 11. Is that silly or what? See, I told you there would be times that I would mess up too. Please forgive me. We are starting in Genesis 11 because we read Genesis 10 yesterday. Genesis 11. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. So that's really interesting there. And I wanted to point that out because you said, wait a minute, I thought I read in chapter 10, verse 5 and verse 20 and verse 31. They all say the same thing. After I read after every son and all his people, it said that, for instance, it said after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nation. So you see that in verse 5, verse 20, and verse 31. And now we're in chapter 11, verse 1, and it says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. So then if they are one language, what languages was it talking about there? Well, we know, living in America, that there's in a sense a different accent. Like, for instance, if you lived in Virginia, whereas if you live in Florida, or if you live in Texas, Minnesota, Boston, depending where you're from, your language is a little different, but it's all the same, right? It's still English. Sometimes you go, is it though? No, but it is. You may say you or you may say y'all. You may say potato or you may say potato, right? So they had all the same language, and we'll continue on. So, one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And so as we see here, they come up with this idea that they're going to build a city and make their name great. They're going to build this tower that goes all the way to heaven. They're going to do things their way, so they think. And the Lord comes in on the scene, And he, of course, we know it is not God coming where no one could actually behold all of who God is. Sometimes God did come down, maybe in the form of an angel or something like that, and they called that a Christophany. And I won't get into all of that, but we'll see that a lot actually throughout Scripture. And so it's good to know that the Lord did come down, and even as high as they could build their building, the Lord had to come down to it. So, nothing is, God's viewpoint is totally different from their eyes and their ways of thinking that they could become so great and so high. But God is always higher, and he is sovereign and holy, right? So, and the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language. If you notice, he used the word here is let us go down. Speaking of the Trinity, they're speaking amongst each other about what these people are doing. And he said, go to, let us go down and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel. So once they are confounded with all these different languages, they can't understand each other except those that are of the same language of them, and they begin to scatter on the face of the earth. And they stopped with that building, and this place is called Babel. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. And these are the generations of Shem. I do want to point out, we did read the generations of Shem, but this is going to go a little bit further than just Shem's. We left off at Peleg last time. We're going to continue from Peleg's son, and we're going to introduce a new person today. So just have listening ears. Don't feel like you've already read it. There's something more here. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begat Selah. And Arphaxad lived after begat Selah for 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Selah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Selah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. Lots of people here. And Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. I may be saying these wrong, but this is how we're going to go, okay? Because I don't speak their language, but we do understand. So, and Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now, these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. I bet these names sound familiar. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. And I'm going to point out, nativity just means the land, place where you were born. Place that you were born. I know we often think of nativity like the nativity scene at Christmas time. Of course, it's the scene of Jesus' birth, the place that he was born. And so the nativity is the place of, and this verse is talking of the place that he was born. So it says, and Haran died before his father Terah and the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren. She had no child. And that's exactly what barren means. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarah his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, and they went forth with them from the Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So you see that Terah, who is in a sense the grandpa of Lot, but his son, so we know Terah is the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran, but Haran died. And when Haran died in the Ur of Chaldees, he took on his son Lot, Haran's son, so he's grandson, and he took it with him and took care of him. And at that point we see that he brings him with him, and Abram and Sarai go with him, and they are on a trip to go to the land Canaan, but they come to Haran and stop there. But they were supposed to keep going, right? But before that, Terah dies, and it just happens to be that where Terah dies, the same place of the name is Haran, which is the same as his son's name. There's a lot of speculation of why that the place was Haran. Maybe he named it Haran. I don't have that actual fact, so I'm not going to say that that's a thing, but it will help you remember. He died in Haran, his son's name was Haran, and he took care of Lot. And now Abram and Sarai basically have Lot in their life, and they continue on. So chapter 12. Now the Lord said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. So he says, get out of there and go where I say to go. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and I will make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. So this begins the covenant of Abram from God into many other things, and so we'll continue. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as if the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, which could have been people that helped take care of their animals, people that helped take care of everything that he owned. He probably had quite a bit, and they all went with him. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. Here we see, and he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. All of these are from God's promises, and we see God has given Abram promises of what he's going to do with his seed, and it's pretty exciting as the journey begins, I should say, in this chapter. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south, and there was a famine in the land. Famine means there was no food, none at all. And so there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold, now I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, that thou art my sister. that it may dwell with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. So Abram asked Sarai to lie and say that she is a sister because she was so beautiful. He just knew that they would take her and kill him. And it came to pass, verse 14, that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house, and he entreated Abram well for her sake. Basically, he gave her things for her. That was a popular thing to do. It was really their culture to give things to give for a bride. So, and he had sheep, verse 16, and oxen, and he asses, and men servants, and maid servants, and she asses, and camels. Verse 17. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why said thou, She is my sister, so I might have taken her to me to wife? Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men and concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. Oh dear. Thank the Lord that God stepped in sometimes on our terrible mistakes of thinking we know a better way. But God had already made a promise to Abram, right? That he would be with him, that he would bless them. He would bless them, he would curse them, and he was going to take care of them. But didn't he think he knew the better way? And that is just like all of us can be sometimes. We think we can figure it out, and we don't even ask God first. What am I going to do when this happens in this situation, right? We think we could come up with a better plan. And God's like, trust me, I will take care of you. Don't you come up with a plan, right? We've all been there. But it always causes more problems when we try and figure it out rather than following what God has for us. Proverbs chapter 9. Wisdom hath builded her house, she hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beasts, and she hath mingled her wine, she hath also furnished her table. She hath sent forth her maidens, she crieth upon the highest place of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, Come eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish, and live, and go thy way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner getteth himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will yet be wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself, but if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. A foolish woman is clamorous, she simple and knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house on a seat in the high places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. And as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, Stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. Whoa, that's a warning there, right? Psalm chapter 9. Go ahead and turn to Psalm chapter 9. Listen to me, I always hum in between things. Do you find yourself doing that sometimes? You hum when you're walking around. You hum even walking by yourself somewhere. You're humming when you're doing things in between. It's almost like you think there needs to be noise, but sometimes there doesn't, right? Be quiet. Psalm chapter 9. Here we go. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou satest in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Ladies, as we're going through the Psalms, I sure hope you're putting all the things down that the Lord is. You will have your book full. So, continuing on, verse 10. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord, which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou hast lifted me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid, in their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hayon Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah. All right. Thank you for your time in the Word together. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow and continuing to grow. Don't forget to pray. Share something that you learned today. Post a comment so I know that you're there. Something that God had for you today. And I look forward to hearing from you. See you tomorrow.